Let's get into chapter 22, verse 1. This could be commandment number 81. If a man shall steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. And this should be the punishment for stealing today, not prison, nothing else, but that you should pay restitution 4 or 5-fold if you steal from someone, or 2-fold, as we see a little bit later, depending on the circumstances. Now in verse 2 it says this, if a thief be found breaking up and be smitten that he die, there shall no blood be shed for him. Now what does that mean? Let me break this down to you. This is saying that if a thief is breaking in and somebody kills the person who's breaking in, there shall no blood be shed for them, meaning that there's no vengeance taken because the person was justified in killing the person who's breaking up. That's what it's saying. Because the blood that would be shed for them would be, you know, the punishing of a murderer. He's saying, hey, it's not murder. No blood is going to be shed for him. But look at the next verse. And I'll call this commandment number 83. If the sun be risen upon him, there shall be blood shed for him, for he should make full restitution. If he have nothing, then he should be sold for his theft, okay? So what do we see? Let's make sure we understand this. This is a critical commandment in the Bible. What it's saying when it says, if the sun be risen upon him, there shall be blood shed for him, is that if somebody's breaking in daylight, you are not justified killing that person. You understand? And if you do, you're a murderer. And your blood will be shed for the blood that you've shed. So what the Bible's saying here is that if somebody is breaking into your house in the middle of the night, I'm just trying to apply this to modern day situation. Somebody's breaking into your house in the middle of the night, you are justified to kill that person. Amen. Without any punishment. And thank God in Arizona, if we did that, you know, they would actually let us off the hook. You know, we are actually justified even by our own Arizona law. You know, you're allowed to, you know, defend your home against an intruder. So what the Bible is saying, though, is that if somebody's breaking into your house in the daytime, you're not supposed to kill them, but that rather they should have to make restitution, pay back what they've stolen. And it says if they don't have the money to pay it back, they should be sold. So a lot of people, when they're mocking the laws of God, and you know what, let's just call it what it is when you criticize these laws, mockery and blasphemy.
Right, amen.
And you hear Christians all the time, and even legitimate Christians who literally blaspheme the law of God. And it angers me when I hear them. I've heard them talk about Muslims stoning adulterers as being barbaric and horrible when it came from the Bible. And I say that anybody who says that stoning an adulterer is barbaric is blaspheming the law of God. Because the Bible says that the adulterer and the adulteress shall be put to death. You know, so to sit there and say, oh, it's barbaric. What are you saying about God?
Right.
You know, you're blaspheming. So we need to not be blasphemous because we think we're smarter than the laws of God. But in this passage here, it's saying that a thief, the appropriate punishment is to pay 4-fold or pay 5-fold. If they break in the middle of the night, you kill them. Why? Because if somebody's breaking in the middle of the night, you don't know what their intentions are. Whereas in the daytime, they're probably just there to steal. And they shouldn't be killed for stealing. No one deserves to die for stealing. Whereas at night, you don't know what's going on. You don't know if there are other guys. I mean, look, if somebody's breaking in at the back door, you don't know if there's another guy at the side door. Nowadays, most criminals, when they break in, they come in groups of 4 and 5, is what I've been hearing. Teams will come, and they'll come in from different sides, and they come in and attack and rob, and you don't know how many are coming at you. So at night, the most important concern is just defending yourself. You know, make sure that you keep you and your family safe. Whereas in the daytime, somebody's stealing in the daytime, you don't just blow them away. Bam! You know, because you can see what's going on. You know, that's what the idea is. But notice, when people will mock and blaspheme this and make fun of this, here's what they'll say. Well, you know, what if, pay 4-fold or 5-fold, what if the person doesn't have that much money? I mean, think about it. What if somebody steals your $20,000 car? Right? Somebody hops in your $20,000 car, steals it, gets caught, and now, okay, now you have to pay double, or you have to pay 4-fold, you know, whatever the judges determine. And it's like, okay, well, this guy doesn't have $40,000. or $50,000 or $80,000, you know, whatever is determined that he pays. Well, here's what the Bible says. Then he shall be sold. And this is just the equivalent of working off a debt. I mean, it makes sense. If I owe somebody money and I don't have the money to pay, that basically I would work off the debt. And the best illustration for this is when you're in a restaurant and oh, I don't have my wallet, and you've ordered all this food. What do you have to do? Go back to the back of the restaurant and wash dishes. It's the same thing. Now, who's ever had to do that, ever? No one. No one ever has. Every time I've preached this, no one's ever raised their hand. Who's ever known anyone who had to do that? No one ever. Because guess what? It only happens on TV. It's not real. It never happens. But on TV, that's what always happens. You know, you have to go in the back and scrub dishes for a few hours, and it makes for a great TV show apparently, but it never happens in real life. But it's still, you know, it helps us to understand this.